Let me say two things about it. Number one, it seems to me that you have, first of all, a concept of eternity that is forever, right? It goes on and on. It never stops. Time never ends. I don't want to be the one to break the news to you, but time is a property of our universe. The Christian understanding is not eternity is essentially 1 million AD. The Christian understanding of eternity is a realm outside of space and time. So, in that sense, your objection is based upon a human understanding of historical time.
With our feeble earth brains, right?
Right. Now come to the rejection that you're talking about. The rejection you're talking about is not a prohibition, don't sin, stop sinning, or we're going to fling you into eternal damnation. It is simply accept that you are a fallible human creature. Is that so hard to accept? No. That you have committed sins for which you have not done full atonement. You accept that?
As everyone here would.
As everyone here would. And if there is a way to pay for those sins and all you have to do is utter the word yes to salvation, why, on what grounds do you refuse if what is available to you is eternal happiness, and if refusing has even the possibility of eternal separation from God? What obstinacy forces you to say, I won't do it, I will risk all of damnation with my full intelligence and free will?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you. Let me rephrase your question a little differently. You basically want to live in a world without moral choice and moral consequences. Isn't that what you're saying? You're saying, why do I have to make a decision? Why do I have to choose one way or the other? Why do I even have to sign on the dotted line?
Let's hear a response from Mr. Hitchens.
Look, I've known Dinesh for a long time. I know him to be a very humane and courteous and considerate and decent man. And I don't think he understands how wicked he sounds to so many people in this hall tonight. When he says, look, you've made a perfectly fair offer. We can torture you to death if we want, for the crime only of being born. But all you have to do is throw yourself on our mercy, and it'll be okay. Why don't you just do it? My dear Dinesh, do you not know what you sound like when you say that? I can hardly bear to look at you.
You're implying
that you
that
could say something so evil, so stupid, so nasty and so intolerant. It is what Fulk Greville says in this wonderful verse. It says, here is the order. You are created sick, and you are ordered to recover. And you're ordered on pain of death and torture forever. This is totalitarianism to the nth degree.
No,
it is the most refinement of cruelty and stupidity that is possible to picture.
It's
and
really
you don't
not.
get
There
it when
is
people ask, does it seem okay to you? Say, you always have the chance to sprawl and grovel and beg and plead, and you might get off.
No.
Let's
You
hear the
can't
response.
know
let me
how you
answer.
sound.
Let's hear the response.
You can't know how
Let
you
me
sound.
answer. If there is a place called heaven in which there is no sin, how are we human beings who are sinful able to get there? You haven't confronted that question squarely. You want to deconstruct Christian theology? Well, let's look at its premise. Now, here's the point. There are certain decisions in life on which you will never have full information, and yet you still have to make a decision. I'll give you an obvious example. Let's say I'm dating a girl for 10 years. I now have to decide, should I ask her to marry me? I could say, you know what, I really don't know what life is going to be like with her for the next 40 years, so I'm going to be an agnostic. I'm going to keep waiting until the data comes in. The truth is, the data will never be in, even if I date her for another 5 years. At some point, I either have to propose, or if I don't make a choice, she will marry someone else, or we will both be dead. The practical necessity of life and also death forces us to make certain decisions even though we don't have full information. Now, we are always, as human beings, trying to A, deny our sinfulness, that's why I asked you the question, not because you're a sinner, we all are. But once we admit it, we then have to take seriously the idea that unrepented sins do carry some consequences, just as they do in this life.
Now, Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, this will be the last question